Good morning everyone. Welcome to Tathastu-ICS. I hope you all are doing good. My name is Pooja Sharma and I am your current affairs and history faculty at Tathastu-ICS. So everyone who are online, Pragati, Deepti, good morning to all of you. So today we are going to take the DNA session of 7th of January 2025. This is the QR code for your Telegram group from where you can have access to the PDF files of these DNA session, not only mine, everyone's, okay, whoever is taking DNA on this particular platform. Okay, so let's start today's discussion. Let's see which important news which we are going to cover today. So these are the upcoming courses which are going to start at Tathastu-ICS. You can go through these if you are interested in that. So these are the news which we are going to cover. So the first is related to the HMPV virus. Some people are speculating that this virus is very similar to the novel coronavirus, and there is a sense of fear among people, especially due to the posts which are being circulated on social media. But again, what is this human meta pneumovirus? We are going to understand in detail. First, there was a news on the front page also, and there was a long article in your text and context page also. So we are going to understand why this article. This article is actually going to tell us about the what exactly this virus is, how it actually spreads, or should we be afraid of this virus or not. Other than that, the health ministry actually had a final say when it comes to this virus, and the ministry is saying that this infection is not new, it is there since 2001. So this virus is not a new virus like novel coronavirus. So coronavirus was new and the people around the world did not develop any kind of immunity against that. That's why that virus created such a disaster in the world. But this virus is there since 2001 and the majority of the population of the world has already immune to this virus. So there is nothing we need to worry about that. This is what the statement of the health ministry. Right, so we are going to know about all these two articles in detail. And then we are going to know about another article which is related to decoding of national anthem controversy. This is a recent controversy where the governor of Tamil Nadu actually left the legislative assembly because he was saying that national anthem was not being played. But the rules of national anthem all around our countries are kind of different. Though Home Ministry has given a certain guidelines and rules and regulation on which occasions national anthem should be played or there should be a mass singing of national anthem, but other than that, majority of our states have different types of convention when it comes to playing of national anthem. So the governor of Tamil Nadu was not fled. Actually, he was not very happy about why national anthem was not played when he was giving his speech in the legislative assembly. Now, next article is regarding Bhopal Gas Tragedy. We all know that the waste disposal of Bhopal Gas Tragedy is going on right now, and the Union Carbide was the name of the company. Now the name of the company has changed, but at that point of time, 1984, the name of the company was Union Carbide. So High Court actually gives Madhya Pradesh government 6 weeks to dispose all the waste scientifically. But obviously there are environmental and human health concerns when it comes to the disposal of such waste. But the government is saying that we are disposing the waste in a very scientific manner, and there is not going to be any kind of ill effect or harm effect not to the health of human or the environment. Again, we are going to know about how the waste is going to be disposed, and we are also going to know about in brief what was this Bhopal Gas Tragedy. Okay, then there is another article regarding the global climate policy. Actually, this article is actually telling us that how the climate policy all over the world, which everything started in 1992 from Rio Summit, okay, Rio Earth Summit. So the article is actually saying that how the climate policy was always in favor of the wealthy nation in this world, and it was never in the favor of the developing countries. But now it is a time for change. Now the developing country need to take the lead and they need to think about their sustainable future. Okay, and they should not follow the rich country or the wealthy country blindly as they were doing since the 1992, since the whole debate of this climate change has started, right? So the recent, this article is in the context of recent summit which held in Baku, or we can say the COP29. Then the last article is related to one very important news. Actually this news is also about the digital rules, digital draft digital rules which are there. We have already discussed the same article yesterday also. So there is another important point, that social media accounts can be deleted after the death of a person. Again, it is a very controversial thing. Why? Because someone wants to memorize the accounts, any kinds of account, Instagram account or Facebook account. They want to make a memorial of that. But this draft rule is saying that if a particular account is not in use, then social media fiduciary need to delete those accounts. If a person is deceased, the person is no more in this world, then also the social media account of that person should be removed, right? So it is all there in your draft digital data protection rules. Okay, so we are going to know about that also. So let's start with our first article. Again, the first article and second article are quite the similar article only. Okay, in the first there is about what actually the health ministry said about HMPV virus, and the second is about the detail of what exactly this human metapneumovirus. So let's start our discussion. Let's come to our first news. So again, the human metapneumovirus has been in circulation globally. Okay, not only globally, it is there in India also. Why there were so much fear among the people? Because there were so many images which were circulating on social media, and after that we have found confirmed cases, 2 confirmed cases in Karnataka and 1 in Gujarat. So because of those cases, there was a fear among the population of India as well. But the health ministry finally clarified that those who are infected in India, 2 of them are actually infants and they don't have any kind of travel history. So it is not like that this particular virus has come from China to India. The ministry has clarified that this virus is not a new virus. It is a very old virus and it was first identified in 2001. So it is not a new virus. It was first identified in 2001 and it has been in circulation in the world since then. Actually, some say that this virus is there in the world since 1950s, but it was first identified in 2001. If it was identified in 2001, now we are living in 2024. So the majority of the population have already acquired the immunity against this virus. At the age of 10, every person in this world actually acquired the immunity. That's why most of the time this virus affects the infants only. Again, it is not that deadly, though the symptoms are very similar to the novel coronavirus only. So this is the clarification by the health ministry right now, so that there is no havoc in the, or there is no fear in the society. Okay, again, so this was the clarification by the health ministry. Now let's understand what exactly this human metapneumovirus, right? So again, this is in the context of the article which is there on your text and context page. Okay, so what is the story here? Story that recently in China, one of the pathogen that was detected, especially among the people under the age of 14. Mostly it affect the young children, but it is not like it cannot affect the adults also. It can always affect the adult people also, but it rarely do that because the adult people already have the immunity of HMPV virus, but the young population does not have that kind of immunity. That's why most of the time this virus you can find in the young population only. Okay, so name is human metapneumovirus. Again, by pneumo you can understand that the symptoms are like pneumonia type symptoms. Again, the symptoms of common cold, you can see that. Again, the post showing the crowd of people in which look like the Chinese hospital are appeared on social media. Okay, so there was rumor also on social media that China actually declared emergency over this virus, but there has not been any such declaration. Even the WHO has confirmed that it is not there is no any kind of emergency in China itself, so there is no need to fear that much. Now, what this human metapneumovirus and what are the symptoms of it? Actually, it is a respiratory virus, just like novel coronavirus. It is a respiratory virus. It had mild infection similar to common cold only. So symptoms are similar to common cold, but it can cause both upper and lower respiratory tract infection, right? And generally obviously seen in winters or in springs, you can say that. Children, elderly and those who have weak immune system are more susceptible to this particular virus. Again, what are the symptoms of it? The symptoms are similar to the common cold, like the cough, runny nose, fever, wheezing, all these things. And its incubation period is 3 to 6 days. Okay, only a few people, however, complications such as pneumonia may arise acquiring medical care, and most of the time people don't need any kind of medical care when it comes to this particular virus. Okay. Now, how does this particular virus spread? Actually, again, it spread through contact. Okay, again, it's a respiratory virus. So first of all, it spread through contact, and how it is going to affect? Actually, it can be through secretion from the cough and sneezes also. Basically, from the cough and sneezes only. If those sneezes, the particles from the sneezes can be there on a particular surface and someone touches that surface also, even then this virus can spread. In the similar way the coronavirus used to spread, but it is not that problematic a virus like the coronavirus. The thing is that, so how it can be treated? Again, there is no vaccine related to that, and there is not even specific antiviral also. Okay, when it comes to this virus, most of the people actually require over the counter medication. Again, antibiotics are not going to work against HMVP. By common sense, it is against, is a viral. Okay, it's a virus. You cannot kill a virus with antibiotics. Okay, with antibiotics you can kill the harmful bacteria. You can treat the bacterial infection with antibiotics. You cannot treat the viral infection with antibiotics. So antibiotics are not going to work when it comes to this virus. Again, what are the prevention method? Obviously, there is no vaccine, but prevention can always be there. Prevention actually lies in the cleanliness. You need to clean your hands and all. Okay, just like the coronavirus. If some people have lung conditions such as asthma, then they should be cautious about protecting themselves from this virus, because this virus can then affect them adversely, because they already have some kind of pre-medical conditions, right? So this was about human metapneumovirus. Okay. Again, the health ministry said that there is nothing to fear because this virus is not a new virus. Everyone, most of the population all over the world already have the immunity against it. So not a new virus, so no need to worry about that. Right? Now, so it doesn't mean that coronavirus is still not there. Coronavirus is there, but most of the population actually developed immunity against it. How can we treat viral infection? Okay, viral infection has an incubation period. You have to follow that incubation period. Other than that, sometimes there are vaccines for virus infection. There are vaccines, but for this HMPV there is no particular vaccine. For COVID we have this vaccine, but for this we don't have. We still don't have any vaccine. Actually, we didn't need any kind of vaccine, so that's why there is no vaccine. Again, let's come to our next article. So next article is recorded is about the national anthem controversy. What is this controversy? Let's understand that first. On 6th of January, like yesterday, Tamil Nadu government R.N. Ravi, actually he is from Bihar, he left the legislative assembly without delivering the customary address on the opening day of the first session of the year. Okay, on the opening day of the first session of the year, in the legislative assembly, governor is going to address the legislative assembly. In the parliament, the president is the one who is going to, actually address the parliament. In the similar way here in legislative assembly, but he left the legislative assembly without even delivering the customary address. Why? Because he complained that national anthem was not played before his scheduled address, that the moment when he was entering and just the moment he entered, after that he was thinking that there is going to be the playing of national anthem, but it did not happen. That's why he left the legislative assembly. So this is basically a controversy. But why we are reading this article, why this article is important for UPSC? Because this article is now going to tell us about what are the rules and regulation, that when and why the national anthem is going to be played and on which occasion it should be played. Again, we all know that respecting national anthem is one of the fundamental duty of the citizen under Article 51A, right? Now, obviously in Tamil Nadu the practice is slightly different. So what is the practice here? So it is not like that in Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly there is no playing of national anthem, but the timing of playing of national anthem is different from the other states in India. For example, as per the convention in Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly, when there is a beginning of governor's address, at that point of time there is no playing of national anthem, but there is a playing of state anthem. Okay, Tamil Thai Vazuthu. So there is a playing of state anthem, but national anthem is also being played, but at the end of the address, not at the beginning of the address. So this is actually Tamil Nadu's convention. So this practice was not there since the independence. This practice was actually introduced in 1991 under AIDMK, which was led by Jayalalitha. When she was in power, she actually started this convention that before the start of the address of the governor, there should be the state anthem. At the end of the address of the governor, there should be a national anthem. But in general, in other state, when there is a start of the address of a governor, then there is a playing of national anthem, right? Now, again, so what is the practice in other state in general? In most of the state, national anthem is being played when before the start of the address of governor, but it is not there for each and every state. Each actually house follows its own convention. Like in Nagaland, the national anthem was not played at all for several decades. It was there in February 2021 when the same governor R.N. Ravi was the governor of Nagaland. Then there was the first time national anthem was played in the Legislative Assembly of Nagaland, first of all. The second, it was not only until March 2018 that national anthem was played in Tripura Assembly. So mostly in northeastern states we see that national anthem was not even played at all, but with time it is being played. So it is not a hard and fast rule. So these are just the parliamentary or legislative assembly conventions which are being followed by the legislative assemblies. The same was done by the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly, but the governor was not very happy about that. That's why he left the assembly without even giving his customary speech. Now, so what is the practice when president addresses deliver? Okay. When the so earlier we were talking about the governors. Now let's understand what kind of convention is there in the Parliament of India. So when the president reaches his seat, the national anthem is played. Okay, the president is also going to address the Parliament just before the start of the year as a customary speech or customary address. So when president is going to reach its seat, the moment he has reached his seat, the national anthem is being played, and the president then read the address either in Hindi or English. After the conclusion of the address, the president is going to rise on his seat, and again the national anthem is being played. So national anthem is being played 2 times. Like in Tamil Nadu, the first was the state anthem, at the end there was national anthem. In Parliament, what happens? In the start of the address, there is national anthem. At the end of the address also there is national anthem. After that, the president leaves the central hall as a procession. Okay, so this is the convention in our parliament at the center. Now, what does the constitution say? So, constitution is not saying anything about playing of national anthem when president is going to be there to address the first speech of the year, or the governor to be there at the first speech. The constitution is directly saying under article 51A subclause A that it is the one of the fundamental duty. It shall be the duty of every citizen to abide by the constitution first with respect and its ideals and its institutions. So we need to respect our constitution's ideals, constitution's institution, along with national flag and national anthem. So article 51A subclause A is dealing with 6 kind of duties, 6 sub duties, you can say that every citizen of India need to respect Constitution of India, the ideals of the Constitution, the institution of the Constitution, the national flag of India and the national anthem of India, right? Again, the national anthem being played in movie theatre was also a convention. It was not written in the constitution or any rules thereby. Okay? So it was not written in any rules. Now, this is what the constitution has said. So constitution is basically telling us about we need to respect national anthem. If national anthem is being played, we need to behave in a certain way. We need to stand in a certain way so that we can show our respect to our national anthem. But what does the order of the Ministry of Home Ministry is going to? So Home Ministry actually has given an order right now, no? Before that also only the ministry has given the order. So what was actually written in that order? So that order is the one, this order is actually very important from prelims point of view, because in prelims they can actually ask you when the national anthem can be played. So this slide is very important. So again, little bit factual. Full version of national anthem shall be played on the following occasion. Okay, which occasion? For example, if there is any kind of civil or military investiture, means if some kinds of awards, civil award or military awards are being given. So in such kind of ceremony, national anthem should be played. Again, shall be means it has to played. Again, during parades, okay, what kind of parade? When national salute is given, national anthem to the president, or if the governor is there in that parade, okay, at that point of time during parades there should be national anthem. On the arrival of president or governor at state functions organized by the government and on the departure of such functions. Okay, if a government organization is organizing a particular function and on those state function, if president or governor is invited, at that point of time during the arrival also there should be national anthem. The moment they are leaving the premises, on then also there should be national anthem. After that, immediately before and after, the president address the nation over All India Radio. If president is addressing All India Radio, then the national anthem should be played before also and after also. After that, when the national flag is brought on parade, if in the parade national flag is being brought, then at that point of time there should be national anthem. And when the regimental colors are presented, and then the hosting of the navy. So in those occasions also there should be playing of national anthem, right? So these are the occasions on which national anthem shall be played. Okay, it shall be played. It is not discretionary, it should be there, right? Now, so that was about the playing of national anthem, the tune of national anthem. But we actually, there is a mass singing of national anthem also. So now according to these rules, when the mass singing of national anthem is required, first if we are unfurling the national flag. So during unfurling on the occasions such as 15th of August or 26th of January, and those occasions the mass singing can be there. Other than that, on cultural occasions and ceremony functions, other than parades, okay, other than that on arrival of president at any government or public function, okay, and also immediately before his departure from such functions, okay, public function. Public function means is in which the public, the mass is there. Okay, at that point of time also there can be mass singing of national anthem. Can there be, is there any kind of punishment if someone is not singing national anthem, or if such kind of these rules are not being followed by any authority? Now, article is saying that there is no such penalty actually. Okay, so once the actually this is not even written anywhere what kind of penalty should be there, but once the Madras High Court has given a verdict, So according to Madras High Court, that national anthem is only customary practice. So it is a custom, it is not rule, okay, it is not an imposition, it is just a custom that we are showing our respect to our national anthem. Again, we all know that fundamental duties are there, but fundamental duties are not enforceable. Okay, the state cannot go to the Supreme Court or High Court if a citizen is not following its fundamental duty. So there is no such punishment if there is no such kind of singing or playing of national anthem in any kind of occasion, but there are rules and regulations which is given by the Home Ministry that on which occasion national anthem should be played, right? So I hope you understood the article. Any question in the article? Because this article was bit factual. Yes, Chitra, cricket match winner time also national anthem can be played. Again, it is there because the public is there. Okay, but it doesn't mean the national anthem cannot be played somewhere else. Okay, so there is no ban on the playing of national anthem at other occasions. The occasions which are mentioned by the Home Ministry are the occasion where it shall be played. Okay, but again, it is again a customary rule. There is no imposition on that. But after that, if there is a small school function also, there can also be playing of national anthem or a mass singing of a national anthem. Okay, so there is no restriction on the singing of national anthem. National anthem can be sung at any time when there is any kind of occasion, but it should be sung in a respectful manner. Okay, so that is very necessary, right? Now let's come to our next article. This next article is related to Bhopal Gas Tragedy. First we are going to understand what was there in the news, then we are going to go into the background of Bhopal Gas Tragedy. So let's understand the news, what is there. Actually, Madras High Court actually guaranteed the 6 weeks to safely dispose the toxic waste from Union Carbide factory involved in Bhopal Gas Tragedy. Okay, so court actually emphasized strict safety measures. Why? Because there were so many people and the environmental concerns related to the disposal of this waste, and the people actually went to Madhya Pradesh High Court. So that's why Madhya Pradesh High Court has come with this kind of statement. The waste actually is there for incineration, which actually sparked the protest. Again, the security around the facilities has been tightened and the misinformation spreader have been arrested, because there were again so many posts on social media that the waste is going from truck from one place to another place. So such kind of misinformation should not be there, because such kind of misinformation actually create panic among the masses. So what was this tragedy? Actually, this tragedy happened in 1984. Okay, it was in December 1984, okay, when there was a leakage of methyl isocyanide gas from the Union Carbide India Limited. It was actually a pesticide plant and the gas was leaked. Okay, and this gas actually exposed over 5 lakh people to its harmful impact. So impact were not even immediate impact. Okay, so impact were long term impact. So at that point of time, there were 3,000 deaths, the immediate death by the inhalation of gas at that point of time. After that, around 20,000 deaths were there over the years because of the complication, because they have already they have already inhaled the gas. Again, after that, chronic health issue, cancer, birth defect, lung disease persisted among survivors and their descendants for a very long time. So it was a tragedy, but tragedy did not have the current impact. The tragedy had the long-term impact, right? Other than that, the survivor and advocacy group continue to demand accountability. First of all, actually there was some kind of compensation which was given by the company, but that compensation was not enough. Okay, because the people's life cannot be bought, right? So advocacy group were demanding more accountability. Yeah, the accountability should be there, that such kind of incident should not happen in the future. Other than they needed higher compensation and they needed effective cleanup. So under this effective cleanup demand only this waste is being disposed right now. Look, the tragedy happened in 1984 and the waste is being disposed right now. Okay, so you can see after such a huge gap the disposal is being it's been like 40 years, right? After 40 years the waste is being disposed. So it was so harmful, it could actually create more problems. Again, it led to stricter environmental laws. For example, our Environment Protection Law in 1986 was there with a stricter law, right? Other than that, it actually raised global awareness. This tragedy was not only confined to India. Okay, the impact of this tragedy was actually being criticized at a global level as well, right? So this background you should know. You need to know the name of the gas which was the methyl isocyanate. Okay, right. Now let's come to our next article. So this article is about the climate policy around the world, and the article is actually talking about how the outcome of COP19, the recent climate change conference that held in Baku, Azerbaijan, how it is a good step when it comes to climate governance in our world. Actually, it was a COP19. Meaning of COP is conference of party. Conference of parties. Parties here are conference. Parties mean conference of nations. For what? It is for the climate finance. The first COP happened in 1992. Okay, in Rio, Brazil. So it happened in Rio. It was also known as Earth Summit. Earth Summit. So in this summit only, it was the first time the nations actually recognized climate change is a reality and we need to take care of the climate change. That we cannot do emissions without having any kind of caps on those emissions. But 1990, this year is the kind of year when the developing countries were actually starting developing. The country like India, we just started having our growth, but the country which were in Europe, the country like USA, they have already developed. That's why they were thinking about the climate change at that point of time. But we as a country, we also participated, even though we were developing countries, we also participated in the summit so that we can also contribute to mitigate the climate change. Again, we did not do anything then at that point of time, right? We were not responsible for those emissions, the rich countries. Okay, here the article actually mentioned G7 countries. So G7 countries are mostly the rich countries of our world. So G7 countries actually emitted so much, and that's why there was such kind of climate emergency and such kind of summits were happening. So, but it was shown as a common responsibility of everyone. So in the issue was created by one group of country, but it was going to be cleaned up by the all of the countries of this world. So this is how the climate governance was going on. But now the article is saying that the 2024 summit in Baku marked a shift by challenging the traditional global framework which divided the nations into donors and recipients. So what is the meaning of donors and recipients? We all know about the common but shared responsibility, right? Or common but differentiated responsibility also. So these words are often described when it comes to climate governance. So again, the article is saying that now the world was divided into donors and recipient. Donors, recipient means developing country always demanding finance from the developed country so that they can take care of the environment, so that they can take care of the sustainable growth of their countries, because developing countries are still developing. They cannot completely move to the cleaner form of energy. They don't have that kind of finance, they don't have that kind of investment, and they don't have that kind of, they cannot even take that kind of risk also, because the economy is still developing and the population is very large in such country, right? So what is the meaning of donor? Donors are here which are the rich countries, wealthy countries, and recipients are those countries which are developing countries. Okay, developing countries like India and like USA. So the debate is between India was looking at the USA or the European countries for kind of investment, so that they can invest in India, and by those investment they can actually move to cleaner form of energy. Again, now the article is saying that this particular Baku summit actually proposed creation of an alternative global sustainability forum. Okay, global sustainability forum means the forum specially for the developing countries, urging developing nation to lead their sustainable future. Now they are the one who should be leading their sustainable future. What is the meaning of here sustainable future? A future. What is the meaning of sustainable? Sustainable means something we are not going to have, a large amount of emission, but we are going to emit in a very efficient manner, so that we are not losing on our economic growth side also, and we are not going to impact the environment also. So sustainable future, it means there is a balance between the growth, there is a balance between growth and balance between the environment. So this is known as a sustainable future. So now this particular current summit actually urged developing nation to lead their own sustainable future. Before that, who was leading the sustainable futures of developing countries? Actually the rich countries, they were developed countries, they were leading. They were the one who were the decision makers, they were the one who used to direct us what we should do, what we should not do. Like Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol was kind of binding. In the Paris summit we have our own nationally determined solutions, but Kyoto Protocol was binding on everyone. Okay, and those decisions were taken by the developed nation only. But now the article is saying that now this time in 2024 we can see a shift in the climate governance, where now the developing country can take their lead for their own sustainable future. Okay, I hope you understood the context of the article. Now the article is actually going to tell us about the historical context, actually what actually happened. So in 1992 climate treaty, that is the Earth Summit, you can say that, Earth Summit or Rio Summit, it is also known as Rio Summit, or it is also known as COP1, right, Conference of Party 1, for the collective action on a shared challenge. So collective action means everyone need to act to mitigate climate change, everyone. And the challenge is shared. So the developed world showed us that the climate change is a reality, and now it's a responsibility of each and every nation to mitigate or to take care of the climate change. While the G7 committed to reducing carbon emissions in this summit, developing countries assumed responsibility for something which they actually did not create. They were not the ones who actually responsible for the climate change at that point of time, lured by the promises of technology and financial aid from the rich nation. So the wealthy country, the developed country, sat together with the developing countries and told them, okay, now climate change is a reality. We were the one who have done this wrong. Though the developing countries were not at fault, because they were not the one who created such kind of situation, but the developed country told the developing countries, we will give you finance, we will give you technology aid, so you should also resume the responsibility of mitigating the climate change. So this was the deal between the developing country and developed country. So developing country thought that though we were not at the fault, but we are going to look for the environmental protection, given the finance and the technology be given by the developed countries. But it actually did not happen. The promise which was there in the Paris summit, that $100 billion every year for the climate action, it did not happen. The climate finance is a big issue, and this climate finance was an issue in the recent Baku summit also, but there was no concluding solution of that again. However, the imbalance in research capacity of developing and developed countries and policy making benefit rich countries only, benefited G7 only, perpetuating inequalities. Again, inequalities actually increased more, because we were also thinking about mitigating climate change, but on the other hand, the developing countries, they were doing their emissions like they were doing before. How they were going away from this responsibility of taking care of climate change by investing some a certain amount of money into the developing country, that's it. Okay, because they were the one who were making all these policies, and they were the one who had the better research capacity, okay, under the guise of future financial support, because developing countries thought we are going to get climate finance later on. Now the article is saying that there were conflicting visions. Right now there are two visions. So the world has two world views are there. The one world view is of developed world, the another world view of developing world. Developing world. A developed world is being donated by the G7 countries, and the article is saying the developing world as a global south. So they are saying that G7's focus is reducing emission and retaining dominance in the global decision making. So this is their aim. What is the aim of global south? What global south actually need, or the developing country actually need? They need sustainable development. They need climate justice. They need to emphasize equity in resources use, and they need energy transition, so that they can address the socio-economic disparities also. So socio-economic disparity are not the issue of the developed world, it is the issue of the developing world. We need to balance between growth and environmental sustainability. Only after that we can take care of our population. But what is the focus of developed world? Developed world's focus is just to reduce emission. What they want is emissions should be reduced so that they can feel safe. But the issue of developing world is very different, okay, it's very different. They need to transit their energy, they need to invest in their population, they need to take care of their socio-economic dynamics also, right? Again, urbanization is again happening in developing countries, and urbanization is the major cause of climate change, okay, it is a major cause of the emission. 75% of emission are there because of the urbanization only, right? And the G7's historical overconsumption of resources contrasts sharply with the global south's need for sustainable urban and economic need, right? So what is the solution here? So article is actually going to suggest some solution also. So article is saying that global south must challenge the G7's rule-based system. So article is saying you don't follow the decision making which is there by the developed world. So what they should do, they need to have an alternative sustainability forum. So you have your own forum. You need not to become the part of the global forums. Have your own forum like BRICS country, okay, and the partner. Now the BRIC has expanded. The BRIC country and the partner can create their own platform to support such kind of energy transition, the kind of policies which are actually supportive of the socio-economic dynamics in developing countries also. So we can have our own policy making when it comes to environmental sustainability. Other solution is we need to have a targeted United Nations climate negotiation. Right now there are no targeted. We need to limit the G7 discussions, okay, if we are going to international forums, okay, when it comes to discussions related to climate change or the discussion related to emission. So those discussions should be limited to only two things. First, how can we reduce the emission? The second, grants for the vulnerable nation, for example small island nation or least developing country. Actually the article is suggesting that now the developing country need not to ask the finance again and again from developed world. What they should do, they need to take the leadership in their own hand, and they need to work or they need to make policy according to their needs, okay. They need to look up to the developed world to make the policies, climate policy or climate governance for them. This is what article is saying that. But article is saying that it is not like that we are going to oppose the G7 country. We are going to be part of the international forum also, but at those forums we are not going to discuss about the finance again and again. What we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss about how the emissions can be reduced first, and second obviously we are going to discuss about the issues of vulnerable nations who are actually needing the small island countries, because if there will be a climate change, if there is an emission up to a certain level, then the glaciers are going to melt down and the sea level is going to rise, and the rise of sea level can actually submerge the small island nation. So those are actually at the highest risk. Again the article is giving another solution. We need to rethink global institutions. We need to allow ineffective system like the World Trade Organization to fade. Actually, a bit extreme solution, that we don't need international organizations such as WTO. We need to repurpose international fora for annual assessment and course connection. That's it. We need to take part in international organization, but we should not rely on them. We need to have our own policy at a developed world level, or you can say that global south level, right? Now, so this was the article and this was the solution which was suggested by the article. Now let's, there is a vision for future also. Again, the same thing is being repeated. The BRIC nation must assume a bridging role between global governance, paving the way for equitable multilateralism and claiming a rightful position in institutions like United Nations Security Council. That the developing world need to think about having a world order which is multilateral, and the second, we need to have our seats in the global forums such as United Nations Security Councils, so that we can also become the decision makers at the international level. Now let's come to another news. We all know that Digital Personal Data Protection Act was passed in 2023, okay, last year, and this year the government is there with the rules related to that, so that we can execute the particular act. So these rules which I have discussed I think yesterday or day before yesterday. Now there is another important point here. The point is that these draft rules are actually proposing that companies or social media platform or e-commerce firms, okay, your Amazon account and or other kind of gaming enterprises, they must delete inactive user account unless the retention is legally required. So they should delete it. There can be the retention. It means it is not permanently going to be deleted. It can be there again if someone wants to use them as in a legal case. So if these companies are going to delete the inactive users, then it could result in deletion of the social media account of a deceased individual as well, those people who died, okay, so their accounts are also going to be deleted. But this particular point has created a bit controversy. Why it is bit controversial? It is controversial because some people want to preserve the digital legacies of their deceased individuals, okay, the people want the social media account to remain active of their loved ones. So that's why it is a bit controversial. So what we are going to understand, what are exactly these rules. So the rule 8.1 actually telling us about this particular part, that personal data must be erased if the user is inactive and does not exercise their right over data. If he is not exercising his right over the data, then the social media account of that person can be deleted. If the user is not using a particular account, because there are issues related to the hacking of those accounts also if they are not in the use. Again, what is the policy context here? Now, a timeline for compliance is under discussion and similar measures have caused controversies in the past. Now, obviously, it is not going to happen immediately. There has to be a timeline. But again, the article is saying that such kind of deletion of the account which were not being used was there, and the Twitter has actually done it earlier. But again, by doing that, there was so much controversy, and such kind of controversy can be right now also. Again, the act allows the user to nominate another individual to manage their data rights in case of death or incapacity. The act actually giving us the right, to the data principal, the person or the user of the account, to nominate someone else, okay, as their nominee of the account, or in case of the death or in case of any kind of incapacity. So we already have one provision in the act, but the rules are saying other thing. The rules are saying that if the user is not using a particular account, or if someone is deceased, then that account can be deleted by the social media companies. Okay, this was about this article. So I hope you understood this article. Again, this article is going to give us one information only. Again, let's do some questions. So the first question is related to very simple question, Bhopal Gas Tragedy. Here from prelims oriented only one question can be asked. Said what was the gas which was responsible for the Bhopal Gas Tragedy? So what is the answer? And obviously carbon monoxide is not. No. So methyl isocyanide was the gas actually responsible for Bhopal Gas Tragedy. Yes, B is the correct answer. Now let's come to another question. This question is related to the HMPV, that is a human metapneumovirus. Again, it primarily affects the respiratory system and is known to cause illness like pneumonia. Is this correct? It belongs to the same family of virus as SARS. Okay, severe acute respiratory symptom virus. So is it correct? Again, HMPV virus are generally limited to young children and not observed in adults. So what can be the answer? This is correct. This is not correct. So where there is a 2, this is not correct. Again, this is also not correct. It doesn't look, most of the time it is being observed in young children only, but it doesn't mean that they cannot be observed in adults. So please be mindful about that. It can be observed, it can affect the adult. If there is an adult who has weak immune system or elderly, they can also be impacted by this particular virus. So 1 and 3 is the 1 only is the correct answer here. So this is also wrong. This is also wrong. Only this is correct. 1 is correct. Okay. Why B? B is not the answer. Second statement is incorrect. One or two नहीं है. Okay. Let's come to our next question. It is about our fundamental duty. Okay. With reference to Article 51A, subclause A, consider the following statement. The first is, it is a part of fundamental rights under Part 3 of the Constitution. Is it right? Article 51, fundamental rights. Article 51? No. This is no. This is incorrect. It is not fundamental rights. It is a part of fundamental duties. It is a part of fundamental duties. Again, it directs every citizen of India to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals, institutions, the national flag and national anthem. This statement is correct? Yes, this is correct. This is actually the subject matter of the, what is the clause A of the Article 51A. Again, it was added to the Constitution by 42nd Amendment Act 1976. Is it correct? Yes, this is actually correct. So there were no fundamental duties in the original text of the Constitution. They were actually added later in the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. So statement 3 is also correct and statement 2 is also correct. So what is going to be the answer here? The B is going to be the answer here. 2 and 3. Okay, very good. Everyone has given like correct answer. So B is the correct answer here. I hope you got all the 3 questions. So this was all about today's discussion. I hope you are going to read newspaper also after that. There were few other articles which were important. Please go and read newspaper also after the discussions and study hard. There are not much time that is left for your prelims examination, and this is the time you need to study with your full focus on your studies only. Okay, so have a nice day and thank you so much.